Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Talking Astros baseball, of course, here on my YouTube channel all season long, as I've been doing this almost a year now, believe it or not. And it's been a good run, and I'm going to continue to go and go and go. And like I said, we're talking Astros baseball. So that means we're going to give you an Astros versus Rangers, the series recap that just finished, if you haven't heard already. Or if you haven't, you're going to hear my version of it. And then, of course, your Astros versus Red Sox series preview, getting into the pitching matchups. Also, maybe an injury update to one of the Astros players, hoping for some good news on rehab. I don't want to, give you too much, but we're going to have that in this video as well. And then, of course, another Astros rookie debut. If you didn't hear during the Rangers series, there was another Major League debut, so we're going to talk about that as well. So another great edition of Clark Crawford Sports is coming. And it's going to come right now. So on Monday night, the Astros lose to the Texas Rangers, another heartbreaking loss in the 2024 season. They lose 4-3. The game recap, Alex Bregman hits his 15th Breggy bomb of the year. This one was a solo shot in the third inning to get the scoring started on the night for either side. Hunter Brown was excellent yet again, starting a new quality start streak, going 6 innings, giving up 3 hits, allowing 1 run, it was earned, and striking out 4. Brown deserved to win, at least in my opinion, but gets a no decision, as it was a 1-1 game headed into the 8th inning where the Astros loaded the bases, which they did several and numerous times in this game. As this time with the bases loaded, Jeremy Pena provided an infield single to score Jose Altuve, giving the Astros a 2-1 lead. Fortunately for the Astros on their side of things, Ryan Presley in the bottom of the 8th inning allows a solo homer to Corey Seager to tie the game. Corey Seager has been an Astros killer all season long, and he does it yet again in this game, tying the game at 2. John Singleton pinch hitted in the 9th inning for Dubon. He struck out. Pedro Leon struck out, and then Altuve grounded out for a 1-2-3 9th inning as the Astros go down in the 9th. And then Josh Hader does not allow a run in the bottom of the 9th, who struck out the side. The problem was Josh Hader threw 26 pitches, so the Rangers did a heck of a job battling against Josh Hader. So Josh Hader was deemed unavailable for the 10th inning, trying to save bullets on his arm because, well, Josh Hader's been used a ton this year. And, well, not just that, he threw 26 pitches, so he was unavailable for the 10th inning. In the top of the 10th, the Astros load the bases once again. After Alvarez was intentionally walked, and Altuve was the ghost runner on second. Then Bregman gets out along in there. Yainer Diaz gets hit by a pitch, and Jeremy Pena gets hit by a pitch for his second RBI on the night. Though I'm still not convinced Pena was actually hit by that ball, but that's what the umpires called, so I'm not complaining. I just don't really believe Jeremy Pena was hit. But the umpires and the Rangers wanted to review. The umpires reviewed it and deemed Jeremy Pena was hit. There wasn't enough evidence to overturn the play. So the Astros take a 3-2 lead headed into the bottom of the 10th. Available options to pitch, not counting the guys who had already pitched in the game, and a save opportunity out of Joe Espada's bullpen were Sean Dubin, Caleb Ort, Caleb Ferguson, and Taylor Scott. Now, Taylor Scott, they shied away from in this game. He struggled as of late. And also, well, Taylor Scott's pitched a ton this year. The miles on his arm are piling up. He's never pitched this much in a season, so they decided to go away from Taylor Scott in this game. They chose Caleb Ferguson, the left-handed pitcher. If you remember a couple of videos back, I talked about him and his numbers. The Astros acquired him for a low-level, high-A prospect at the trade deadline from the New York Yankees. He's a left-handed pitcher. Ferguson comes in, and I'm not knocking Joe Espada's decision. I'm just giving you who is left available in the bullpen for the 10th inning as Caleb Ferguson strikes out the first 2 hitters of the inning. And then, of course, the ghost runner is on second base. And for the record, for my YouTube channel, I don't think I've talked about it before. I hate the ghost runner. Don't get me started on it. It's the worst rule MLB has ever had, in my opinion. And, well, the Rangers win the game 4-3. The Astros left 11 men on base because, well, the Rangers win the game on a Josh Smith blast of a home run launched into the right field seats, and the game was history. The Rangers win 4-3. The Astros have no one to blame in this game but themselves. As like I said, they left 11 men on base. let the bases stranded, only scoring 1 run twice with the bases loaded, and they couldn't string together enough timely hits. I mean, that's the story of the game, and the Astros lose 4-3 as the season series between the two teams, as I mentioned in my previous video, is tied 5-5, and the Rangers take a 6-5 series lead against the Astros in the battle for the Silver Boot. With the Astros loss on Monday, like I said, they're down in the season series 6-5, though Tuesday brought a much different outcome. The Astros would take the middle game of the series 4-2 behind a almost no-hitter from Framber Valdez. Before I talk about that, I want to talk about Jake the Rake Myers, who was clutch in this game, going 2 for 4 with 2 big RBI singles. Though prior to Tuesday's game, his 2-hit night on Tuesday, Jake Myers was previously 16 for his last 98 since the beginning of July. And if I go back in June, you don't want to see his June numbers as well. But since July, he has a 163 average after Tuesday's night since July 1st. So Jake Myers, just like a lot of the Astros lineup, has been in a major slump, and there's no secret about it. The Astros need production from the bottom 5 of their order with their recent struggles, and heck, they need production out of their top forward, Yainer, Jordan, Bregman, and Altuve, obviously in reverse order. So back to Framber Valdez, who was dealing all night long. As I mentioned, an almost no-hitter. He was down to the final out before Corey Seager rudely broke up his no-hitter. Obviously not rudely, but Corey Seager, that's his job. He smashes a 2-run homer into the right field seats, and bye-bye no-hitter, bye-bye shutout, the whole 9 yards. But luckily for the Astros, as I mentioned, they won 4-2. Jordan Alvarez hit a 2-run homer in the top of the 9th at the time when the Astros were only up 2-0. We all believed, just a couple extra insurance runners. We're all thinking Framber's going to finish off the no-hitter or at least get a shutout. Astros win the game 4-2. Josh Hader gets the final out in a 1-out save, and the Astros have now won 8 consecutive games started by Framber Valdez. And Framber's numbers on the night, 8 2/3, 2 earned runs, 1 hit, and 5 strikeouts, nearly his second no-hitter, coming just over a year after his first one, which was also last August as well. So nearly back-to-back August months of no-hitters for Framber Valdez. Unfortunately, he doesn't complete it this time, but he'll certainly take the win in this game as the Astros evened the current series at the time 1-1 against the Rangers in the season series 6-6. Now, the big MLB debut that needs to be mentioned, he debuted on Tuesday. Zach DeZinzo. DeZinzo was a 12th round pick in 2022 out of Ohio State. He's a utility infielder who's risen through the system quickly. He was hurt to begin the year, but since then, and I'll show you his minor league and major league numbers so far after the third game because he came up clutch in the third game. He DH'd in his first game and played a nice defensive first base in Game 3 of the series. Zach DeZinzo began the year in high A, moved quickly up to double A, also through triple A, and he's provided, and the Astros are hoping he can provide a major spark because, well, their offense has been lackluster lately, and somebody needs to provide some offense in the bottom part of the order. It's going to be interesting to see if Joe Espada continues to play DeZinzo, or is he going to go back to Singleton for a little while, or what's going to happen. I'm not sure, but if it were me, I would kind of start to bury John Singleton, play him maybe twice, 3 times a week, and let DeZinzo jump in there and get a chance. But we'll see what happens with the Astros. Battle of the Silver Boot continued for one final time in 2024, with Tuesday resulting in an Astros win, which meant the 2 state and division rivals season series was tied at 6, and the rubber match of this series would determine the winner of the 2024 Silver Boot. Much like the first 2 games of the series, the Astros jump out to an early lead in Game 3 in the first inning. This time, Jeremy Pena grounded into a fielder's choice with the bases loaded to score Alex Bregman. The Astros had a big chance to break the game open early, but failed to do so. Luckily for them, Jordan Alvarez in the third inning hits a solo homer to add to the lead. They led 2-0. The Astros put up a crooked number in the 6th inning to extend the lead to 5-0 at the time, highlighted by Victor Caratini's solo home run. Mauricio Dubon and Jose Altuve also drove in runs as well in the 6th inning. Another aspect of this game, it was Kikuchi Day for the second time since the big trade for the Astros. And Kikuchi's final line, 5 in the third innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and 8 strikeouts. He's got 19 strikeouts in his first 2 appearances as an Astro. He just needs to bring the walks down a little bit, be a little more pitch efficient, but the strikeouts are great, averaging just under 10 strikeouts per appearance. And, well, the Astros will take that certainly out of Kikuchi because it's a lot more than you're going to get out of Jake Bloss, at least the rest of this season. It's been a good pickup so far. So far, the Astros have won the trade between them and the Blue Jays, but there is still a lot to go. I'm not saying they're going to win the trade 10 years down the road, 4 years, whatever it is down the road. I'm saying as of today, the Astros' goal was to win this season. And Kikuchi gives them the best shot to win this season out of the players they traded away, and of course, acquiring Kikuchi. Now, for the rest of the game, the Rangers scored 3 times in the 6th inning to get on the board to make it a 5-3 game. Both teams scored once in the 8th, making it a 6-4 game. Once again, Ryan Pressly gave up a run with another shaky performance. Pressly gave up multiple runs in this series in his 2 outings. He gave up 1 run each time. Pressly has shown most of the year he's not been reliable in the 8th inning, and, well, that's where he continues to pitch. It's not good at all, but what are you going to do about it? Espada continues to pitch him there, but luckily Josh Hader, pitching for the 3rd day in a row, converts his 24th consecutive save on the year and his 24th save total on the season. The Astros win the game and their 8th consecutive silver boot as well. Fantastic game, fantastic bounce back from a horrible weekend series against the Rays, and of course, the loss on Monday as well. Another note, I've noted, and several of you already know, the Astros have had many struggles offensively recently. They're almost in a slump, but the last 2 games sort of broke out of that, and a big part and large of that is Yordan Alvarez. If he can start mashing some home runs in large quantities again, knocking in runs when guys are actually on base ahead of him, that would go a long way. I know it's not all on Yordan Alvarez, but it would certainly help because Yainer Diaz over the last month, even maybe back as far as a month and a half, has been carrying this team in what has been his best stretch of his young career. I know he's only in his 2nd year, but hey, give Yainer Diaz all the credit in the world. The Astros would have lost several other games without him, especially recently. And Yainer Diaz, like I said, having the best young stretch of his career. Now, the call-up is Zach DeZinzo, who recorded his first 2 hits along with scoring the first 2 runs of his career, speaks volumes to the team's recent performance. As well, the team has struggled. There's no secret about it. And let's show you Zach DeZinzo and welcome the latest and newest addition to the Astros ball club. As I mentioned, he's been a fast riser throughout the system. He hit .306 in 147 at-bats, hit 6 home runs at the minor league level this year, drove in 24, 386 on-base percentage. And so far, his 2 hits and 2 runs came in the Wednesday game and 7 at-bats. So I know I'm not getting way too hyped up, but it needs to be mentioned, Zach DeZinzo's numbers and everything going on there. That Zach DeZinzo, well, he deserves the credit, and he's done a nice job so far, 2 for 7. It's a very, very, very small sample size. I want to stress that. But Zach DeZinzo, a heck of a day. He earned player of the game on Wednesday, and, well, that, did wonders for the team. It provided that spark, that word I've mentioned several times now. And Zach DeZinzo played his part and did a nice job. The Astros won on Wednesday with him in the lineup. And they also won on Tuesday, but DeZinzo, that was kind of his breaking out party. So a couple things I want to mention from the fallout of the series. Number 1, play Zach DeZinzo at first base. You got nothing to lose. John Singleton's been pretty much a bunch of nothing lately. Hit a couple of home runs, but he's really struggled as of late. So I implore you, Joe Espada, play Zach DeZinzo at least 4 days a week at first base, even maybe once or twice this year. Spell him at third base with Alex Bregman because he can play both corner infield spots. And then number 2, Joe Espada, you need to play both catchers 5 to 6 days a week. I don't care if Victor Caratini catches more than Yainer Diaz, just get them both in the lineup. Or if you want to flip-flop, maybe every other day Diaz catches, every other day Caratini, to keep their legs fresh. To be honest, I don't care which way you go. But Joe Espada, please play both catchers almost every day for the rest of the season because you need production out of the bottom of your lineup. Caratini is a great number 6 hitter in this lineup, right behind Jeremy Pena hitting 5th. And then if and when you get Kyle Tucker back, you can lengthen the lineup, hit Jeremy Pena 6th, and then hit Victor Caratini 7th, and then 8 and 9, wherever you want to go between the combination of maybe DeCenzo, or maybe you go Jake Myers, Chas McCormick, Pedro Leon, somewhere in there, John Singleton. Those guys can hit 8 and 9 the rest of the year when Kyle Tucker comes back, hopefully sometime soon. I'm not going to elaborate, get into that right now because a lot of people are pissed off about it. But, hey, he's injured. What are you going to do? Yeah, the Astros probably haven't been totally honest, but you know what? It is what it is. Kyle Tucker isn't playing right now, and, well, you just kind of have to deal with it. So play both catchers. I don't care, Joe Espada. Just play both catchers. If you need to, call up Cesar Salazar, who was raking in 22 at-bats. Cesar Salazar earlier this season was hitting .318 with 8 RBIs. And, well, Cesar Salazar, you need to, for the Astros' sake, you need to get your best 9 on the field every night. And right now, that is with Yainer Diaz and Victor Caratini in the lineup. So Joe Espada, do what's best for the team and play both catchers. Also, the whole Cesar Salazar thing, well, you need more bench flexibility as it is. And if you play both catchers, it's simple. Just call up Cesar Salazar and DFA Ledimus Diaz, who's washed anyways in his career. Ledimus Diaz was called up on July 22nd, and today is August 9th as I'm recording this video right before the Astros versus Red Sox Game 1 on Friday night. The Astros have played 15 games since Ledimus Diaz was called up from the Florida League on July 22nd. Diaz played on the 22nd and 23rd, getting a total of 4 at-bats, totaling no hits and 2 strikeouts. Diaz hasn't played in 13 consecutive games. I don't understand why he's still on the roster. I don't know if this is a Dana Brown situation. I don't know if this is Joe Espada has a say in this or what. I don't care if you want to tell me he has veteran leadership, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't played in 13 games, so obviously he ain't provided enough for the Astros. So the Astros roster construction for the last 13 games, they've been playing with 25 guys. And Zach DeCenzo, I need to mention he replaced Trey Cabbage on the roster. I forgot to mention that earlier, but let's throw that in as well. Anyways, Ledimus Diaz hasn't played in 13 games and probably 14 if you count Friday night. I don't think he should be in the lineup, and if he is, Joe Espada's crazy. Ledimus Diaz, there was no reason for the Astros really to pick him back up, especially if they weren't going to play him. But my point is here, Salazar calling him up would fill multiple roles on the team, and not just as a backup catcher. He could be a solid pinch hit opportunity off the bench if you're not playing both of your catchers already. Cesar Salazar did really well, as I mentioned, .318 with 8 RBIs and 22 at-bats. So I'm telling you, Astros, please call Cesar Salazar up so we can get the Astros' best lineup in there so Joe Espada doesn't have to use the reason of, well, I don't want to play both catchers in case one gets hurt and then I lose my designated hitter spot. Just play both catchers, call Cesar Salazar up, and have the best of both worlds. So that's my little blurb. Call Cesar Salazar up, and, well, it would help the Astros and do wonders for the roster and also get a Ledimus Diaz, who's pretty much useless at this point of his career, off the roster. Moving on to the Astros weekend series, where they will play in Boston against the Boston Red Sox. It's a beautiful ballpark where I encourage all baseball fans to visit, as I was lucky enough to visit with my brother back in 2018. Thanks, bro, for letting me tag along on that trip. And, well, the one game I got to go to, it was a nice added bonus. The Astros won that game as well. Houston Astros against the Boston Red Sox, 3-game series in Boston. The Astros are 59-55, ahead of the Seattle Mariners in the AL West, first place. Against the Boston Red Sox, 61-52, third in the AL East. The AL East is a bloodbath this year. The Yankees and the Orioles are battling it out for first place. Either one of them could win the division, so we'll see what happens there in a division. I'm certainly watching that division race. So we've got your pitching matchup for Friday night. Ronel Blanco, 9-6, a 298 ERA, 102 whip, 124 innings pitched, 79 hits, 121 strikeouts. That innings threshold that I've talked about for a little while now. After he pitches into the second inning and records an out, it will be a career high in innings. Ronel Blanco, after he finishes that second inning, a career high in innings, so that's something else to watch out for. Blanco has been a little bit better as of late, but he's got to get deeper into games. I'll talk about that here coming in a minute. Tanner Houck, a Red Sox All-Star this year, 8-8, a 3.09 ERA, 134 innings pitched, 118 hits, 123 strikeouts. So that is your Friday night pitching matchup, as we'll get into their game logs here in just a second. As I pull it up, here is Ronald Blancos to start. Ronald Blanco had a 4.40 ERA in the month of July. So like I said, his ERA is up, and he's got to pitch better. But his last start against the Tampa Bay Rays, the Astros scored a total of 1 run as Ronald Blanco pitched all right. He gave up the 2-run homer in 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. The problem was his pitch count got elevated, and the Astros are trying to save his arm as well. Hopefully they can go back to a 6-man rotation soon. But as of right now, they're in a 5-man rotation. Luckily, the last couple of Thursdays they've had off to give their rotation some extra rest. So Ronald Blanco, there's his numbers from his last start, 89 pitches. He's got to get into the 6th inning and hopefully get them through at least 6 innings on Friday night coming up in the first game of the weekend series. So Tanner Houck, he's been a solid pitcher. As I mentioned, he was an all-star. He got smashed in the all-star game, giving up 3 runs in the 1 inning he pitched. But since then, he went 6 innings against the Rockies in a loss. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, or 10 hits, 4 earned runs. And then he got a loss in the game against the Yankees, 6 innings, 4 runs, 3 earned with 4 walks, his 7th loss of the year, and then his last start. So he's lost 2 consecutive starts, 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 7 strikeouts against the Rangers. That brought his record to 8-8. Like Ronald Blanco, both had 89 pitches through 5 innings in their last outing. Both teams are hoping to get more length out of their starters this time around. Second game of the series is going to feature Spencer Arrighetti for the Astros side of things, and the Red Sox, as of the time I'm recording this video, are undecided who their starting pitcher is going to be. So we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the whole Red Sox rotation. Maybe they're calling up a rookie. I'm not sure what's going on their side of things. But for Spencer Arrighetti, 4-10 with a 5.33 ERA, a 152 whip, 98 innings pitched, 100 hits, and 116 strikeouts. So Arrighetti's having an okay rookie year. He's really got to shaping things up. But, I mean, he was also called up when the Astros were desperate for pitching, so he got called up a little too soon. Now, I want to highlight Arrighetti. Of course, we're going to talk about his last start. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 2 walks, and 12 strikeouts, what I'm calling his best start of his young major league career. Arrighetti's 12 strikeouts, 100 pitches. Unfortunately, he suffered the loss in this game. That was probably the Astros' worst loss of the season, at least in my mind. He had multiple chances to win the game against the Tampa Bay Rays, and he lost 1-0. I know Monday's game against the Rangers is in contention for that, as well as the worst loss of the season. But this one was just brutal. The Astros lost that game 1-0. Arrighetti pitched his ass off and ends up losing the game. It's unfortunate. And, well, hopefully he'll have another good start on Saturday night, and we'll see who his mound opponent is. It just hasn't been announced as, like I said, the time I'm recording this video. That brings us to the potential rubber match of the series. And the rubber match is going to be between, as of right now, Hunter Brown against the Red Sox southpaw, James Paxton. Hunter Brown, 9-7, a 3.98 ERA. He's finally got that ERA under 4 for the season for the first time really all year, other than the first couple starts where he got smashed, just banged around. And, of course, that Royals outing that we all remember. Now, Hunter Brown's 9-7, a 3.98 ERA, a 137 whip, 122 innings even, 121 hits, 130 strikeouts, getting those strikeout numbers up there after the slow start to the year. His mound opponent, as I mentioned, the now Red Sox southpaw, as he was with the Dodgers to begin the year, James Paxton, 9-3 with a 4.42 ERA, a 143 whip, 99 2/3 innings pitched with 73 strikeouts. His record at 93 is a little misleading because that means he's gotten a ton of run support, because his ERA is half a point higher, just under, than Hunter Brown, yet he has 4 less losses than Hunter Brown. And then, of course, the big name to watch in the Red Sox lineup is obviously they've got some good hitters in their lineup. Is Rafael Devers, their big bopper on the big money deal. 25 homers, 304 average, and 70 RBIs. You've got to shut him down if you want a chance to win this series. And of course, some of the Astros offensive numbers, Diaz leading them in RBIs with 59, a 300 average. The Astros now have 3 hitters, all of them here on the screen. Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, and Yainer Diaz all hitting 300 or better on the year. Just a little tidbit, and I just found that rather interesting with Diaz's late hot streak of he is hitting 300 for the year. So hats off to Yainer Diaz. Hopefully you can stay hot the rest of the season. Hunter Brown's last start was against the Rangers on that Monday game, as I mentioned his numbers earlier in the video, but let's go over them quickly as Hunter Brown pitched his tail off. Unfortunately, the Astros found every way to lose that game. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, and 4 strikeouts. The strikeouts were down. 97 pitches, 6 innings. Phenomenal job by Hunter Brown. Let's do it again here on Sunday. Get that quality start streak going again. And that brings us to James Paxton. I'm going to show you his last 2 starts. As I mentioned, he was with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers put him on waivers, and the Red Sox picked him up. So his 2 starts with the Boston Red Sox against his former team, the Seattle Mariners, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 6 runs, 3 earned, giving up a homer and 5 strikeouts, throwing 72 pitches. And then his last start, picking up his 9th win of the year against the Kansas City Royals, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned with 4 strikeouts. So James, veteran, he can get the job done. Probably going to give up a couple runs, definitely at this point of his career. He's in his mid to late 30s. And so the Astros need to jump all over him as he was a Red Sox previously. So he's pitching on a mound he's familiar with, and we'll see what happens. Him against Hunter Brown, 2 pretty good veteran pitchers at this point. And, well, it's going to be a good matchup, and I look forward to the Astros-Red Sox series. 2 good teams, and the Red Sox have surprised a lot of people this year, but they're certainly capable of getting smacked around. But at the same time, if the Astros don't come bring their A game, they could certainly get swept by this Red Sox team. They're scrappy, some damage, because they want to get into one of those wild card spots and have a chance to make some noise in the postseason. So that brings us to the last thing I want to get to, and that is a Justin Verlander update. Now, if you haven't heard already, this news broke yesterday. The official news broke yesterday. Justin Verlander will make a minor league rehab start at AAA Sugar Land on Saturday. So go out there, support Justin Verlander. I will not be there because it is way too freaking hot, and there is no roof on the Sugar Land Space Cowboys Constellation Field because, well, it's a minor league ballpark, and I don't know of any minor league ballparks who have roofs. So anyways, Justin Verlander, just some good news. He will make a AAA rehab assignment on Saturday at Constellation Field. So some good news on the horizon for the Astros. As long as Verlander doesn't suffer a setback, it is believed he will make 2 minor league rehab starts and then be back with the Astros within the next 2 to 2.5, 3 weeks, just depending on how long those rehab start takes, and then figuring out how to slot him back into the rotation, as it is believed the Astros will go back to what they've been wanting to do all year, a 6-man rotation. We'll see how that works out and where Verlander may slot back in sometime in the next couple of weeks, as long as things go well and as long as he does not suffer a setback. So I gave you a lot of news, a lot of updates, my analysis on the Astros versus Rangers series, what to look for, the Astros versus Red Sox, going over the pitching matchups and everything. Your newest Astros, Zach DeZenzo, and what he's been up to, where he went to college, everything like that. He went to Ohio State. And, well, your Justin Verlander update. Hopefully he does well on Saturday. I'll give you an update on that on my Monday edition of Clark Crawford Sports when the Astros go to Tampa Bay to play the Rays. So that's going to do it for the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Like my video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel as I'm going to continue the Astros updates. But don't worry, you football fans, the NFL news is going to come soon in the next couple weeks, as I will have some weekly NFL videos coming very soon. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next edition of Clark Crawford Sports on Monday.